Happy New Year, everybody. You guys know that Looney Tunes intro where like some character comes out of like an orange ring? Do I look like that? That's all, folks. Okay, it's a little bit different than I remembered it. It has to be like orange circles, which I kind of have, but it has to be bigger and the background has to be green. So let's do that real quick and then we'll start talking about this Blackmagic Cinema Pocket Camera 4K. It's a lopsided circle. I'm really bad at this. It's a little flat. Hey, that's looking pretty good, huh? Okay, in the official Looney Tunes intro, there's like a green backdrop, but you guys know I can't put a green backdrop behind me or else you guys are gonna green screen me into a whole bunch of weird crap. I'm gonna get me in trouble. I do have that blue though. It's a little bit dark. I'm gonna add a little bit of light to this now. How's that look? Oh, too bright. But in the Looney Tunes background, the pig has a shadow behind him, which means he's being lit by a harsh source. But clearly, if you look at him, he's being lit by something very, very soft. Like there's no gradation in his skin tones. Looney Tunes has been lying to your face about lighting your entire life. And that is how you spend your entire morning goofing off and not being productive at all. But today we're talking about this camera right here, which is making a lot of noise in the camera world. And after playing with this for the last month, I can comfortably say this is a camera that is awesome for a lot of people, but not everybody. Some of you guys need to completely just stay away from it. Don't even look at it. Stop it. Now, before we start talking trash about this camera, which is coming by the way, don't worry, but let's talk about why I bought this for myself and my production company and why I spent my own money on it. First of all, it delivers a professional output, 4K 60 frames per second in ProRes 422 HQ and RAW, but me personally, I usually shoot on ProRes 422. I find that to be plenty of space to work with. RAW can be nice once in a while, but as long as you dial in your settings on set properly, I've never really felt like, man, I really wish this was RAW. It's got a nice wide dynamic range, very smooth and flat, and because it's ProRes, you can color grade the crap out of this thing. So it can work well as a B or C camera to many different setups. But bottom line, it didn't take much to sell me on this camera. All you have to say is 4K 60 ProRes 422 HQ compact body, and it's 1,300 bucks. Take my money. Am I expecting this to be the best cinema camera that's ever existed? No, not at all. But it's 1,300 bucks. I mean, it literally is the same price as this memory card. I'm not even kidding. This is the same price as this memory card. Kind of sucks. Wow. And I already have all these other professional cameras. Why am I spending more money on this? Besides the fact that I'm addicted to buying shit. Gimbal use, I mean, come on. I just finished doing a whole shoot last month where I was traveling all over the place, went to NASA and filmed on the launch pad, which was dope. We put the red Epic Helium on here and filmed with it all day, every day, and it was awesome. It looked absolutely gorgeous, but my back hurts. I hate this. And when you compare the weight of these two, I mean, this thing is tiny. Oh man, this would be a good thumbnail. Hold up, here, check this out. I always feel so stupid getting these thumbnails. Ta-da, now it's on the Movi Pro, and that was like the simplest setup ever. The Movi Pro has no issues. It doesn't even know there's a camera on there. I can just strap this mimic system onto my head and then check it out. I don't even have to do anything. I just show up to set this up, and I go, okay, you want that angle? Got it. How about that? You want that too? I know you're looking at me, dude, stop. By the way, this Movi Pro, best gimbal I've ever used, hands down. I gotta make a whole video about this thing someday. Oh my God, and this thing is so freaking light. I can literally use this thing all day. And because of its size, it's gotta be one of the cameras that's gonna be super popular to throw on a gimbal, but they made it a little bit wide so it doesn't fit onto a DJI Ronin-S. So this company Lampard, they sent me a whole bunch of things for this camera, which we'll get into later, but they do make this offset plate which will allow you to mount this directly onto a Ronin-S or a Xeon Crane. So that's probably gonna be one of the hot selling accessories for this camera. Now let's talk about image quality for a second. I'm gonna actually take this off of here, and right now I'm filming on the 80D, but I'm gonna take this camera and put it in its place. And we're switched over to the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 4K. Man, that is a hard camera name to say. And I really like how it looks. I like the dynamic range. I like the highlight roll off of my face. It looks super pretty. And one of the reasons why I was really considering this camera as my A camera for the studio setup is that usually I'm filming with this camera and then I take this microphone and I have to plug this microphone microphone, which is a Shure SM7B, into this Zoom F8 recorder, and I record audio separately, and then I have to sync it in post. But now I'm just literally plugging this microphone straight into the camera. All you need is a little adapter cable that comes out of this camera and gives you an XLR port. And this is generally what it looks like if I lightly grade the footage, but this is what it looks like if it's flat, and then I can grade it a couple different ways, and there's lots of flexibility. When I'm grading it, a lot of times it reminds me of the Sony FS7, which is a good thing because the Sony FS7 is a great camera and it's $7,000. But my main turnoff of using this camera to film yourself is first of all, you can't really see yourself, and the only reason why I'm able to pull this off right now is because I have a giant production monitor right there behind it showing me what I'm filming. But without that, you're literally just looking at this. This is what you're gonna see, and you're gonna be like, okay, I hope I got the shot. I hope I'm in focus because we don't have continuous autofocus. And it generally works, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, am I in like perfect focus? And I can't really move around too much. And we're back on the typical Canon 80D, and I have my autofocus back so I could move all over the place, and this thing will follow me, so glad about that. I must admit though, that Blackmagic 4K ProRes looked so sharp. I am kind of tempted to use this as my kind of studio A cam that I leave here, but I just don't know if it's worth the extra hassle, because right now I can film for hours and hours, and I'll just come out with two little SD cards, one from the camera, one from the audio. Syncing only takes a few seconds, and boom. And just that little short sequence that I filmed on this camera, it was 35 gigs. I recorded in ProRes 422HQ, and my gosh, 35 gigabytes. That's usually around the size of my entire videos, like with all my A-roll, my B-roll, and all the footage I get, usually under like 25 gigs. And just that little tiny segment right there, 35 gigs, just boof. And I usually don't set up a production monitor because right now, I mean, the flippy screen out of the 80D, I mean, it's great. It's enough for what I'm doing. This, I'm required to set up that production monitor. But man, on my 4K display, I could definitely notice a pretty big difference. How different does it look to you guys? I'm gonna throw up that poll. I want you guys to tell me, honestly. But keep in mind, the only reason why I'm slightly considering this as my YouTube camera is because this is more like a studio hybrid. It's more like a YouTuber vlog space, but also a regular traditional film studio. But if you're looking for a camera specifically to start a YouTube channel, you plan on filming yourself a whole lot or vlogging or what, don't even know. Is it in focus?
It's pretty good.
This is a terrible camera to record yourself in. Not really a vlogging camera, but it probably looks nice. If you were vlogging, this is what you would be staring at. You can kind of see that this red light is recording, but that's about it. You can't really tell if you're in focus or what it's recording, what's in frame, what's in behind you. For me, a good vlog camera is something that you can just set up and not think too much about, because you don't really want to spend all your focus on the camera. You want to be focused on whatever the hell you're doing. When I'm looking at vlog cameras, the few things I'm looking for is like a flip out screen, great autofocus, some sort of image stabilization, whether it's in the lens or in the body, and something very simple to use and great image just right out of the body. I want to be able to just pull this thing out whenever and be able to know confidently that I got a pretty good usable shot and then put it away and then do something else. Somebody must have thought this would be a great vlogging camera because they put a record button right there so you could film yourself, but no. This, on the other hand, I would use probably more if I was like a camera operator to like a documentary or something where I'm gonna man it and be a traditional camera operator. As an indie filmmaker or a small production company, I mean, this is a great option to get you started. Let's say you're trying to film a documentary for a super low budget, I would probably suggest this if this is your price bracket. But even though the body price is nice and low, there is still a little bit of work to be done with this camera before I would consider it to be usable in a professional environment. First of all, only 1/4 inch thread on the bottom. Once we start rigging this thing out, it's gonna start slipping and sliding sideways. This is a camera that I think you absolutely need to have a rig before you can use it in a professional environment for many different reasons. But for one, there's no stabilization built into the body. So unless your lens has image stabilization built into it, you better be on a tripod or a gimbal or super steady. For me, whenever someone uses a DSLR to film something without image stabilization, it's a dead giveaway that it's a DSLR and not like a cinema camera. And it's really because it's so much smaller and lighter. The thing with small cameras is you'll be holding it, you'll be like, I'm holding this very, very stable right now. You don't realize how much you're actually shaking. So see this black dot right here? I have a laser on this camera and I have a mirror set up on the other side of the room to kind of amplify the effects. And I'm gonna basically try to keep this laser on that black dot. You can see how much it shakes and how fast it shakes. It's very erratic. It's like, So let's rig this up, add a little bit of weight to it, give it some wider grips and 3 points of contact. There's a lot of different rig options out there. Lampart was kind enough to send me some, so shout out to them. And their stuff seems pretty reasonably priced for the quality. It's definitely solid stuff. Top handle and SSD tray come with it, so if you're trying to record to like a 2 terabyte SSD drive, not worry about data, you can mount it here and plug it into the side of the camera. And we got ourselves a handheld rig, a follow focus, all that good stuff. I'm gonna link all this stuff in the description. Now let's do our super scientific laser test. I got 3 points of contact, a wider grip, more weight. And it's not so much being able to stay on the target, but more of how fast it jitters. And that jitter is like a dead giveaway that you're shooting on kind of like a DSLR opposed to a cinema camera. And cameras like the Red, they're so heavy out of the box that it doesn't really need added support. Now, aside from getting rid of that jitter, the first thing you're gonna really need to solve is the battery, which is my biggest gripe with this camera. They actually give you a crap generic battery when they ship you this camera. It is a terrible battery. It doesn't even charge on a genuine Canon charger. And if you put that battery into a Canon camera, it's like, what the hell is this? Get this out of my body. So I've been using the authentic batteries from Canon, and that seems to work a little bit better, but still, these are tiny batteries. We have to change out the battery so many times. It got really annoying, and it doesn't give you that much of a heads up when it's about to just cut out on you. And these are like 14 watt hours, which is not gonna last long at all in a camera that's recording ProRes and RAW. I really feel like they should have just made the camera a tad bit bigger and just given it actual juice. A must is an external power source. You could plug it in from the side right here. And really, for any camera that records 4K ProRes, you're gonna want a nice beefy battery like this, and I just P-tap into there. And this battery plate goes on 15mm rails. Next, this monitor back here, it's pretty nice and big and sharp, so I feel pretty comfortable pulling focus on it, but it doesn't articulate at all, like in any direction, and it's not that bright. So if you're outdoors, you're gonna get tons of glare. You're not really gonna be able to see it that well. So it's a great monitor if you have the camera right at eye level and it's a pretty dark place, then it's great. Otherwise, it sucks. At some point or another, you're really gonna need to invest in a decent external monitor. So it's great that it's only $1,300 to get you up and running with the body, but really to get it to perform, you're gonna have to spend some extra money to kind of make up for what it's lacking. It has a full-size HDMI port, which is great, but no SDI port, which kind of is a bummer because a lot of cinema cameras like the Arri Alexa, they only have SDI. They don't even have HDMI. SDI is just so much more of a better connection. HDMI, you kind of like wiggle the cable wrong or something and you'll lose connection. I mean, HDMI works and it's inexpensive, but once you use SDI a couple times, you're like, wow, this is so much better. Also keep in mind there's no ND filters built in, so you might want to get yourself a matte box if you have Cine lenses where you can't just thread them on. And a lot of people are not happy about the Micro Four Thirds, which I'm personally not a fan of either. I got a speed booster which adapts the EF lenses to the Micro Four Thirds system. And this speed booster basically redirects the light, so you get a little bit of extra light out of the lens, which is always nice. You still maintain control over the electronic controlled lenses. Instead of it being a 2 times crop factor, it becomes more like a 1.4 times crop factor. Metabones makes great speed boosters, and I've been using theirs for years. But I've been trying this new one by, I think it's Comlight or Omlight, and that's been really awesome because instead of it feeling like a Micro Four Thirds system, it feels a whole lot more like Super 35. So Omlight or Comlight or whatever you call it, I'll link them in the description as well. But yeah, once I got all these accessories on, it's starting to feel much more like a usable camera. One thing is for sure, once this is all said and done, the image quality out of this camera is surprising for its price point. It's really on par with cameras that are like $5,000 to $10,000.
Happy birthday to Steve. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! And their low light capability is a huge improvement over some of their previous models. At 6400 ISO, it still looks pretty decent, and you can crank it way up, and of course you start seeing a whole lot of grain there, but still for a Micro Four Thirds system, I'm impressed. Now in terms of the user interface, the menu, and just kind of dialing in all your settings, this might be one of the most well laid out menus that I've ever seen. It's very straightforward, very simple to use, and everything's just super simple, the way it should be. I didn't look at the manual. I just kind of went into the menu to try to see if I could figure everything out myself, and it was a breeze. The only thing that took me a little while to figure out is how to get it into 120 frames per second. That one took me a minute, but basically you first have to go into HD, and then you have to do a window sensor which crops in, and then you could crank it up to 120 frames per second. The 120 frames per second slow motion on this, definitely very usable, but it is cropped and it's in HD, so keep that in mind. And for a camera with such bad battery life, I really wish they didn't place the battery right here on the bottom like a photo camera. DSLR is a photography camera. It's fine to put it right here. You're usually handheld or on a tripod, but photography tripods are usually very small, and you have very easy access to this bottom port right here. When you're shooting cinema, you're usually on a big fat fluid head tripod. You might have to pull it off the tripod or whatever just to get into this battery door. Pretty much every cinema camera I can think of right now has the battery that comes out from the back, so it's easy to switch on and off no matter if it's on a gimbal or a rig or whatever. It really sucks having a perfectly balanced gimbal and then the battery dies. You're like, oh, let me take this camera entirely off the gimbal, switch out the battery, put it back in, and rebound. Like, it's a pain. Oh my god, look how dramatic this is. And the best part about this whole thing is that this wood is fake. It's like wrapping paper. It looks pretty convincing though, doesn't it? For 1,300 bucks, this is really, really impressive. At the same time, it does concern me a little bit. How were they able to develop this and drive the price down so low? You guys might have seen my first video about this camera where I got it. It worked great for 5 minutes and then completely stopped working, giving me this weird green-black image. Had to ship it back in because it was like an internal error. And stuff like that, I get it. Every single camera company has had a bad unit come off their production line, but I feel like Blackmagic might have a few more issues than most established camera companies. I would probably go out of my way to buy the extended warranty. Usually stores like B&H or Amazon, they usually offer you like a camera or electronics extended warranty program that goes to 3 to 4 years in case anything happens to it. I usually skip those, but with this camera, just from what I've seen and what I've heard others say about issues with their camera, I'd probably pay the little extra to just get that. And I probably wouldn't also want this to be my only camera on a set because of the reliability issue that I've had in the past. Me personally, I'll probably be using this mostly as like a B or C cam to other cameras, and I definitely see a time and place for it in some of my future projects. So I'm really happy about this purchase. I'm really curious how the Blackmagic and the Red look side by side. Should I make that its own video? Maybe. And let's close this video off with reading a couple of comments from my last video, which was all about putting a GoPro and the DJI Osmo on this little RC car, zipping it around town and seeing how the footage looked. Top comment from Dan and Knack. Can you try the Red on the RC car next time? I think I need a bigger RC car. Actually, FreeFly, the company that makes the Movi, they actually create an RC car that fits the Movi, and then you can throw a Red camera on there and zip that around, which is pretty cool. The FreeFly Terra, oh, there it is. Man, those things look so cool. I want one so bad. Put that on my wish list for Christmas. Oh wait, Christmas is already over, damn it. Where's the affiliate link for pizza and foot massages? That's not for sale. Next comment comes from I'm a Big Sandwich. That's a great name. I don't know if Potato's ever gonna see this, but here's an analogy between RC cars and sensor size. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. 20th scale and smaller is 1 2/3 inch. Micro Four Thirds is 1/14 scale. 1/5 scale medium format sensors. That actually makes perfect sense to me now. That was very useful. I would rate the dog 3 out of 4. Show your abs. Okay, you guys asked for it. Here we go. That's real. This is not photoshopped at all.